It seems that whenever you find a social media group centered around gaming, it will only take a few days before you run into one of those posts where you have a person asking if others have also lost their passion for gaming, or if you can become too old for the hobby. Yesterday, while going through the True Gaming subreddit, I came across another one of those threads in which a user asked about needing motivation to game and whether all people felt that way. I would have left a link to the thread in the description, but it appears to have been deleted due to the fact that its content appeared to be at odds with that of the community's rules. It was upon seeing this thread, however, that I decided to discuss the question: what makes one lose interest in gaming? The fact that one comes across such posts so frequently has made me think about the idea of losing interest quite often. For the longest time, this was a concept that I just failed to comprehend. Do people just all of a sudden wake up one day and decide that they no longer like gaming? Or is there a general problem within the hobby that has mustered these feelings in so many people? I found after looking into this idea for a while that, as with everything ever, there's probably multiple answers that include a wide range of factors, including a person's personality and age, but also a few trends with regards to just the general manner in which the gaming industry works. For example, how publishers sell their product to us and how we consume it. One of the first points that the user who created the thread stated was that they used to be super interested in playing all types of games and getting lost in them, particularly some open world games, but now simply could not find the motivation to play anything other than a few games of Rainbow Six Siege with friends. Whenever I tend to hear something like this, I generally tend to think of the time aspect in people's lives. There is no denying that there's probably quite a few people out there who I wouldn't say grew out of gaming, because that implies that the hobby is only for children, but rather that their priorities shifted and it made it harder to get into a game that requires several hours of your time. I've always felt that one of the big reasons that games like Call of Duty or FIFA have such widespread appeal is that they really don't demand too much from a person. It's rather easy to play FIFA for about 20 minutes a day and switch off and feel as if you've accomplished something, where the same could not really be said for a game such as Fallout 4. It's important to remember that your priorities can shift in terms of leisurely activities too, and that sometimes you just don't want to have to deal with the amount of time and work that it takes to get started in a game like Fallout 4 as opposed to Titanfall 2, and there's nothing wrong with that. You're always growing as a person, and sometimes your desires change without you even knowing it. However, I think that out of all of the information that the user provided about his experience, the fact that I paid most attention to was he stated that he had a game library that consisted of over 300 titles, and he could quite simply not find anything he really wanted to play. It kind of reminded me of the Buridan's ass paradox, which quite simply states that if a donkey that is equally hungry and thirsty is stuck between a stack of hay and a pail of water, it would die of both hunger and thirst because it cannot decide between the two options. In this case, you have so many games that you can play that you can't really decide on what to play. So rather than choosing, you just stick to what you're already playing or don't play anything at all. Therein, I think, lies the problem. As you get older, you have the funds to build the gaming library you always wanted, but then it is often built of tens of games that you either never really wanted but bought because it was cheap, or encompasses an experience that you already know or don't really care for. I am not exempt from this action. I too have previously bought a load of games that I wasn't really all that interested in, and then felt soon afterwards that firstly I needed to play them because I had now bought them, and then also, although somewhat a paradox, that I didn't have anything to play, and this is a big problem. People shouldn't be forcing themselves to play certain games, as gaming is a leisurely activity. You game to get away from the stresses of everyday life, not to feel as if you are working. Quite a few people have spoken about the negative effect that producing so many games each year and then having them all go on sale relatively relatively soon after release can have on the overall health of the industry. Then the fact that, as previously mentioned, many of these games seem to be exactly the same thing is a pretty big problem in itself, as it makes you feel very apprehensive to remain active in this hobby because you think you've seen it all before. Something which proves this idea is the fact that we already speak about a Ubisoft model when it comes to open world games. The fact that you expect to find towers that open the visibility of certain areas of the map, collectibles to go fetch, and a number of enemy outposts to destroy. It is important to remember that this is not only a problem within open world games, due to the fact that you could probably find a familiarity problem with most games in different genres. Despite the fact that it used some well-known tropes, I'd wager quite a bit in saying that one of the big reasons that Horizon Zero Dawn was so well received was due to the fact that it was a new IP. So it was something that gamers hadn't really seen before, and a lot of people noted this fact. People are hungry for new experiences, and I think that if the gaming industry is to prevent a crash that everybody seems to be predicting, that developers need to invest a lot more time in creating these new IPs, or just more innovative experiences within already established IPs. It is also important to remember that before you state that gaming was better when you were younger, that when you're a child or a teenager and don't have as much money for many games, you tend to buy a few games and focus on them. And because you have a limited library, it is easy for all of them to feel new. A person would also take a lot of care in trying to buy something that you knew you would like, because you never knew when you were going to get another game again. At the end of the day, I think if you feel tired of gaming or that you've seen it all, perhaps you should wait until something that seems new or entirely different is released and then play that. And then decide whether you've outgrown the hobby or just quite simply are tired of the same things being released over and over again. Have you ever felt tired of gaming? Do you think that people outgrow the hobby or the industry is killing itself? Please share in the comments down below. And if you like this video, please remember to subscribe for more. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.